Welcome to Okami. 3, 2, 1, 0. And we just mash start to skip all the intro cutscenes. There's 3 at the start, and then there's going to be more later. But fortunately in this version we can skip all the cutscenes. Here we're going to skip Isun's text, Isun being our companion. And we're going to immediately start by doing a trick called Dash Storage, which lets us store our boosted speed from doing a tackle. Now we have level 2 boosted speed, which is called Gold Dash. And every time there's a cutscene trigger, we're going to try and jump into it, in order to, and jump out of it, by the way, in order to maintain our dash. Because if we just walk out of the cutscene, then we lose our dash. So it's just faster. It's going to be our first Celestial Brush Power. This is Rejuvenation. This lets us restore things that are missing or broken, and we barely use it. Because it's very niche. Here we're using it to restore this river. Isun's very surprised because he doesn't quite yet believe that we are the god of the sun, Amaterasu. Also the god of the Celestial Brush. That's an astral pouch, we can't skip it, but it's basically an extra life container that you have to fill up with food. We will be filling it, but we're not going to go out of our way to do so. It just happens to work out that we get a free fill about halfway through the run. But hopefully we won't need it. It's just a nice backup for some hard tricks near the end of the run. So this segment here is just a tutorial, so just some long straight jumps. And then up here we'll be getting our second brush power. Wow. That was a bit early. Okay, well, restoring that statue, which is the statue of the legendary hero Nagi, opens up this constellation, which is of a rat, and that rat corresponds to the brush god Tachigami, who has the power to cut things really hard just by drawing lines through them. The first brush god, never really mentioned, I forget his name, but he's a dragon. Cool design, but not ultimately that important. What we just did there, by the way, you missed it, but we did a fight skip. Skipped a fight. There's fights in this game, and a lot of the triggers for them that are supposed to be required are not quite big enough. So we just skipped another fight by not going through that gate over there. So we just skipped the first 2 fights in the game. Very nice. When we go between areas, we cannot restore our dash. We have to build it again, so we have to tackle each time we enter a new map. What qualifies as a new map isn't exactly obvious, but you can just get it by whenever I do a tackle after a loading zone. It is pretty easy to lose your dash in this game. There's a bunch of different ways you can mess it up. So hopefully that doesn't happen too many times, because it's about a second loss each time. And here we have to cut this peach. And that restores Kamiki Village to a semi-uncursed state. Basically, it's not like a disaster zone like it was before, but everyone's turned into statues. They're all petrified. So we have to go restore them by bringing out the sun, but first we have to investigate them, because if we don't, then Isun literally will not let us realize our true power. So that's 1 statue. That's 2. And now we're just going to go way back around the mountain and get the 3rd one. And then we're going to do a cool platforming trick. The first of many. That's called Uppy Thingy. Great name. And that's sunrise. That's our own true power. Lets us bring out the sun. That's why we're the goddess of the sun. And that's how you do fights in this game. These are green imps. They go down in 2 power slashes, or a power slash and a standard attack, which we do just by pressing the attack button. You're going to see me pressing the bark button. Yes, there's a bark button at the end of every fight, because that makes the results screen disappear faster. And here we're going to get our first instance of a exorcism slip. That's a small one. There's 3 levels, small, medium, and large. The small ones are not quite as powerful as the others, but all of the exorcism slips, they're basically screen nukes. They kill every enemy in the battle. Or, well, they damage every enemy in the battle. And they're incredibly useful in speeding up the fights. Here we have to dig up these turnips while avoiding Mushi's mom here. You can see I can cover in ink. No, I messed it up. And we're going to get this oddly shaped turnip, also called Mushi's dad. It's a Mushi. And here we restore this. This is Kushi's water wheel, because Kushi makes alcohol, and so she needs a way to grind wheat. That's Kushi. We need to talk to Kushi so that she'll give us some alcohol, because we're a dog. Don't ask me why she gives dogs alcohol. Please do not give your dog alcohol. Unsafe. Fortunately, we're a smart dog, so we don't drink it ourselves. We're just gonna keep a hold of it for a little while. And we gotta go talk to this guy. Can't be serious. There we go. Wrong order. The red one there is just a red imp. He's more health, and he has a stringed instrument that lets him block an attack. And then we have to cut it. Here Yusun's going to teach us about praise, which is something we don't want to deal with right now, so we're just going to skip the tutorial basically. The merchant doesn't want the alcohol, so we're not going to give it to him. Here we have the house of the legendary hero, Susanoo, who's really a bit of a fraud, but he's also not truly a fraud. He just doesn't believe in his own power. So we have to make him believe with the power of divine intervention. You can see there I'm doing dash restores out of the house. Houses don't count as separate maps, at least not usually. So we can dash restore in and out of them. And then here we're going to deliver the sake finally to its final destination, which is Susanoo, so that he can be inspired to practice his swordsmanship. So he's going to try and cut these dummies, but he can't do it himself, so we're going to step in for him by using Power Slash. Now here's a metal rock. Power Slash can't normally cut it by itself, but with the combined power of Susanoo and Matarasu, we can cut the rock. And furthermore, we can also cut this huge boulder. So yeah, there is a little bit of true power in Susanoo. We just have to bring it out ourselves. Here's our first sort of like mini dungeon side area kind of thing. This is Hana Valley. It's also cursed. just like the entirety of Nippon. Here we're going to interrupt these people because they're not, you know, properly camping. They're doing it wrong, so we have to stop them. And here, there's 5 enemies there. We just killed them all with one press of the button. That's how powerful exorcism slips are. They're not affected by how many enemies you hit. They just do a bunch of damage to everything at once. These are some enemy trees. We have to avoid them. Unfortunately, Isun wants to talk about the enemy trees, so it's going to stop us twice there. He's really enthusiastic about them. And here's going to be our first fight with a yellow imp. This is going to be a bit of RNG, just because we don't quite have the right tools yet to fight these guys. We're going to take care of the green imps while he's covered in ink, and hopefully he's going to shake off the ink and then do a specific attack that makes him vulnerable. Yep, that's right. Good RNG. And we got him. Nice. It's about as good as the fight can go. That's slow. I don't know what I just did. Alright, whatever. Lost my dash because I'm playing sloppy, because I'm trying to commentate at the same time that I do the run. Who would do that? Not a smart person. And here's Susano again. And once again we're going to have to help him cut wood, because he's no good at it. Good. We have to push the ball here. The ball physics in this game are awful. Fortunately, we can skip all of the ball pushing puzzles except this one. Not cool. And here's our next constellation. This gives us the power Bloom, which lets us energize plants, basically. Something like that. So now that we have that power, we can leave. There would be a repeat of the yellow imp fight here, which would suck, but we can skip it. Just like that. Kind of precise, but not too bad. That one wasn't known about for a very long time, by the way. That trick took a while to discover. And then here would be yet another repeat fight, this time of the campfire fight. And we don't have a second exorcism slip, so we really want to avoid that. Fortunately, you can see, like, right there, it was dead easy, you just run around it. Yeah, the fight triggers in this game, a lot of them are a bit too small. And a lot of them are a bit too big. Like, we'd really like to skip them, but They make it too hard. Here we're going to restore the sapling in Shinchu Field. These are guardian saplings. They are extensions of the great god Konohana, who protects the land of Nippon with flowers. Floral energy. And then, having done that, we're going to then buy something. Sorry about that. And we're going to buy some alcohol. Did I not buy it? I did not. So you remember how I said don't feed your dogs alcohol, and that we're a smart dog and we wouldn't drink the alcohol? Well, we're going to drink some alcohol. In fact, we're going to drink quite a lot of alcohol during this run. So Steel Fist Sake is yet another overpowered battle item. This time, it basically doubles our attack for a limited period of time, which is pretty long. It's more than long enough to end any fight we use it in. And it's quite handy. This is Mika. He wants us to kill some monsters, which we don't really want to have to do this. This is actually a side quest. However, the side effect of the side quest is that it has a tutorial which automatically turns it to night. And we really want it to be night. So it's helpful that this is here. This is Izo. We actually have to read the name of the enemy because it's randomized. I suck. That was a stupid battle strategy. And there we go. Here I'm going to be mashing jump as I swim. That makes you swim a bit faster, which is really important because we have limited breath, and that limited breath is often just enough to cover long gaps. So even this is actually quite close to the limit. So you definitely need to be mashing jump there or else you'll drown. Here's yet another new enemy. This is a dead fish. They're pretty basic, they just take 3 power slashes, but they're annoying in the way they spawn. That was a very good spread. Made my power slashes really short. The way enemies spawn in battle, their locations are random. The enemies that spawn are never random. It's always predictable which enemies you'll get, even out of the optional encounters. This guy's Tama. He's a pyrotechnic, and he gives us access to the power of Cherry Bomb, which is extremely helpful. This god is a pig on a Cherry Bomb. His name is Bakugami. The symbol for Cherry Bomb is basically a circle with a line through it. Which is pretty easy to draw, but it can also, you can also mess it up pretty easily. The detection's kind of weird. And you want to draw it really quick in a lot of places, so... I'm the stupidest person ever. Why did I think I had double jump? No, my god. Oh, why did I do that? Am I gonna make it? Well. Anyway. Here's a Devil Gate. These are fixed battles that usually have some overworld consequences for beating them. And here's another yellow imp. So this time we don't have to deal with RNG because we can knock them out of the ink armor with a Cherry Bomb. And that makes it a lot easier to deal with these guys. Unfortunately, it's really hard. Like, there's no way to get Cherry Bomb before this, before the first yellow fight. you'll notice that I can't skip all of the text in the game, only some of it. It's a bit of a weird effect, but any text I can't skip, I can just hold X to frame perfectly mash through. It's quite a good quality of life. Anything that you have to mash through is really fast, and anything you can't mash through is really easy, basically. So here I'm going to do a trick to skip brush power. First big skip of the run. That skips the power Water Lily, which lets us make platforms on the water, like water lily pads. Very good name for a brush power. It takes like 3 minutes to get, it's really annoying, so it's a pretty convenient skip that exists. That's an annoying timeless. That chest there has our first alternate weapon, but it's entirely optional, and it has a big tutorial associated with it, so we don't want to take it. This is our first appearance of Waka, one of the sort of deuteragonists of the story. He fights us a couple times, and he's very vulnerable to explosives, because he's a human. Except he's not really human. But we'll get into that later. Just 3 explosives takes him down, 3 cherry bombs, which is fortunate because we only have 3 ink pots. We're actually limited on how often we can use the Celestial Brush, which makes sense because it's very powerful. And in this case we can only get 3 uses out of it, although we can upgrade that with Praise, which is a sort of currency we get for doing good deeds. And this is Kakari. He's a little boy who wants to fish, but he doesn't have any fishing line, so we're going to use Rejuvenation to draw a fishing line for him. The fish we get here are random, and they all have different values when you sell them in the store, so we actually hope we get the most valuable one, even though it doesn't matter. It's just a sign of good luck, and that's it actually, that's the lucky lobster. Technically a crawfish, but you know, it's not as fun to say. Here we have another chance to get one, but I think I chose a small silhouette, so I don't think this can be a lobster. Yeah, that's a crab. That's actually the least valuable one, so I guess that cancels out our luck. And then this one's always fixed, the third one. In this fishing game, anyway. This is a giant salmon. Basically, it swallowed the key to the next dungeon. Or the first dungeon, technically. Yeah, there are dungeons in this game, did I tell you? There's 6 of them. Well, 6 full dungeons. Depending on how you define full. Six dungeons with proper boss fights at the end, basically. That gets us another exorcism slips. Those are like buds that are basically treasure chests that you have to use Bloom to open, which is kind of annoying because they're pretty precise. And here's the next dungeon. This is going to be the first dungeon. Why do I keep thinking we've already done one? Hana Valley was sort of a dungeon. Just a very short one. Very linear. But all the dungeons in this game are pretty linear if you don't use tricks. So here we're going to do our first skip of the dungeon. We're going to skip a huge intro cutscene. And that's it. We got it. So that's like a 15-second cutscene. It's really annoying. But we can just jump around the trigger, just barely. That skip was discovered by Giant Cookie Jar. I've actually discovered a bunch of major tricks used in this run. A very efficient glitch finder. We're not going to get this thing. And here's the second instance where the game sort of expects us to use Water Lily. But we can skip this too. With a well-timed wall jump. And then here's going to be our first new enemy of the dungeon. You can already see him there. This is a Bud Ogre. Not butt ogre, bud ogre. These guys are kind of a pain. They have a bunch of different patterns that can be hard to deal with. And in order to make them vulnerable, you have to damage them and then bloom them. I can't, when I run out of ink, I'm not able to build dash, so there's no point in doing anything there besides spinning around and barking. Here we're going to do a trick to skip this ball pushing puzzle. We can actually just draw a tray bomb on this switch here, if I'm precise enough. And yeah, we got it. So as long as we get through the door in time, we're good. We don't need the doors to stay open. And right through this door, there's going to be a fight with 2 more Bud Ogres. And here we're actually going to beef up a bit with a Steel Fist Sake. Oh no. Does that work? Get them both? Okay. So we're going to upgrade our ink here to refresh it. So that's something you'll see us do a couple times in the run, is upgrade our ink to restore it completely. Here we're going to avoid doing something we have to do to make a bunch of platforms with these mushrooms. If I can get the jump correctly. There we go. That's a teller of things to come. A hint. That one's called Mushroom Skip, also discovered by Giant Cookie Drawer. And here's a collapsing bridge. Don't worry, it's gonna collapse in a second. Any second now. And there we go. Eason sneezed. Yet another reason why we don't like Eason. This guy here is Blockhead. Basically I have to tackle him and then poke him. Tried. Yep. Nice. Yeah, sometimes if you don't draw enough, then the rejuvenation won't work, which is kind of annoying because you'd want to draw the least possible since it takes time. And this is the room where we decide whether we continue the run, pretty much. Although I'll probably continue the run anyway, there's lots of bigger time saves later in the game. This is the triple gate room. Bunch of fights all at once. Hello? Oh, it's slow. Not a great spread. That's no good. And here we actually do have to grow the mushrooms this time, so this is what it looks like. You didn't miss anything. Fortunately, we don't have to use the mushrooms. We don't have to actually climb up them, because we have an alternate way to deal with these. These are poison pots. We have to destroy them to, you know, remove the poison, something like that. We couldn't do this earlier because they literally didn't exist until we defeated all of the devil gates. And this is Vine. This is a very useful power. This lets us go to the specific flowers that exist in the world. Sort of like a hook shot. And then here we're going to do a big skip called Cookie Clip, which is very hard, so I'll take some time to focus. Oh, dude. Oh, that sucks. Oh, god damn it. We have to wait for our ink to fill to at least 4 every time we try this trick. That's what it's supposed to look like. Well, we're gonna lose a bunch of time now, probably. Not too much time, but that's still really annoying. The game's gonna ask us to save after every boss fight, and we do not want to save because you're not allowed to save in the run. It's actually not permitted based on the rules, because loading a save would mess with the in-game timer, and that's what this category is timed by. Or, well, this game in general. No, that's not gonna work. So here we're going to go up to this spring, and then we're going to immediately turn around, which is going to look kind of weird. The sole purpose of this is to activate a fast travel point for later. And there you go, that's what it looks like. You probably wouldn't have caught it, but the spring activates when it sort of loads in with these pale green particle effects. It looks kind of weird. And then here we're going to cross this river. So, unfortunately there's no way to cross this river without doing all of this to make a bridge. It's just barely impossible. I've spent hours trying various ways to boost myself over, but there's just no way to do it. If it were possible, it would save like 3 minutes, which would be nice. Because then we wouldn't have to fight the Spider Queen. We actually don't have to fight pretty much any of the bosses. They're just, you know, there's various consequences to fighting each of them that, for most of them, tend to be necessary. Sloppy. Let's go home. Welcome, Krino. That was a gold, really? Whack. Okay, so this is Taka Pass. First we're going to do some shopping. Haven't done that in a while. First we're going to actually start by selling the fish we got. Then we need a bunch of meat feed bags. You're not going to see these very often. And then more alcohol. Along with some exorcism slips that we'll be using later in specific scenarios. Here we have to bomb this. And you'll see I jumped there to make sure I didn't lose dash. If you run straight into a wall, you will lose dash. Although Ami will keep it. If you jump again, you'll lose it. Which is kind of weird. Here's Waka again. Say hi to Waka. Please, dude. He was really sidestepping me there. So yeah, what you'll have seen at the beginning of that fight was I equipped a new item, which is now on my back. That's my Divine Instrument, which is basically the fancy name for my weapon. And this one is another type of reflector. There's 3 different types of Divine Instruments in this game: reflectors, rosaries, and glaives, which are just swords. We don't really use them much since the battle items are so much more powerful, along with the Celestial Brush. But we will use them a couple times. This one is just barely worth equipping. But we actually don't gain most of the other weapons in the game, because most of them you have to buy, like you have to go out of your way to get them. And there's a few you get from bosses that we just skip. So we're going to be using this one for pretty much the rest of the game. And that's not saying a whole lot. So now that we've bloomed Taka Pass, we can go on to the next thing that we have to do. So, while I'm heading over to the next area, the one thing I want to talk about right now is we're sort of locked into a cycle, which is interesting. This is sort of a semi-auto-scroller section that lasts about 10 minutes. Which sounds kind of bad, but it's actually not that bad. Basically, one of the next things that we have to do, that we're sort of like bottlenecked by, is we have to do something that requires it to be night. But whenever you bloom a sapling, it automatically makes it a set time of day, about 5 minutes and 30 seconds before it turns night. So, anytime we spend where daytime is passing, it doesn't really matter as long as we get to our objective in time before it turns night. If we take too long, then it'll already turn night before we get to our objective, and then we're losing time. However, there are a bunch of things that pause daytime, such as loading zones, cutscenes, dialogue, the Celestial Brush, and fights. So we want to minimize all of those, whereas movement isn't as much of a sticking point in this section. So we can take some extra movement if it avoids, say, a cutscene. Although there's not too much of that. But I'll show you, I'll point it out when we get to it. Right now we're going straight to the back of this village. This is Kusa village, short for Kusanagi. And here is Princess Fisei, the shrine girl, shrine maiden of the village. And we're just going to nuke the enemies here. There's one enemy here that takes a couple extra hits, which is this is the main reason why we equip this this weapon, which is called I forget whatever it's called. They all have fun names. The default one is called Divine Retribution, which is probably the best name for a weapon ever. So we have to talk to Fisei here twice to get this thing, which is the Canine Tracker. Basically, Fisei is in charge of a gang of 8 canine warriors, and we have to feed all of them. Or at least, like, contact all of them, because she needs their powers. So, this is the first one. There's no particular order you have to do these in, but we obviously always do the same order, because it's the fastest one. This order has actually changed only a couple months ago when I discovered a way to skip a cutscene that required you to do one of the dog we normally do last to do it second to last, which is kind of cute. So, a little bit of routing optimization there. Really? That's weird. I've never seen that happen before. So this guy was hiding in a bamboo. Oh yeah, this is the first time we're feeding animals. You can actually feed pretty much every animal you see across the land. But obviously it's all optional, and we wouldn't want to feed anything that's not part of the main quest. Fortunately these dogs, or well unfortunately I guess, these dogs are part of the main quest, so we have to feed them. So here we're going to do a cutscene skip. That skips a short cutscene with Susano. If I did that optimally, it would save about 3 seconds versus watching the cutscene. But I'm not very optimal. Oh yeah, one obvious thing to, if you've been watching carefully, we can store dash through feeding animals. You have to put down a certain amount of ink when you do those. Kind of annoying. And that's going to be the 4th dog, the last one we have to feed. Which is why we bought exactly 4 meat feed bags. Each different type of animal has its own meat feed bag that it needs. Or, I mean, its own type of feed bag. There's 4 types. Fish, seed, herb, and meat. And so, obviously, for the dogs that are going to like the meat. And here's a battle. This is Tay. This is our first instance of a dogfight. Dogfights are terrible RNG fests that can really lose you a lot of time if you get bad luck. So hopefully that doesn't happen here. Unfortunately, this one's pretty limited in how bad it can go. This is about as worse as it can get. Well, second's worse. If he did that charge attack twice, then it would have been worse. Orc. And then we just leave the village. So, now that we've found all of the dogs in Kusa village, all 5 of them, there's 3 left, and Fisei is going to send us on a quest to find them all. And the whole reason we have to do all of this is because each of those dogs owns a power orb. Yes, an orb of power. Basically, they like to play with balls. The power orbs are basically, when you assemble all 8, it forms a key that lets you go into the next dungeon, and we need to get into that dungeon Eventually, not right away actually. We're going to be putting that off a bit, but first we need to do some side questy stuff. So here we're going to set up yet another fast travel point by doing this Devil Gate. And then the next minigame we're going to do is with these guys here. These guys are the Molsters, spelled pretty close to Polsters. Not like the way you'd imagine Molsters would be spelled, which would be really bad. These guys have stolen someone's teacup. Oh no. What dastardly evil. So we have to tackle this blue one 3 times because he's the boss. And then we pick up the teacup, and we have to go deliver it to the Tea Master, so that he has his legendary teacup back. That crow in the background is a signal that night is coming soon, which is good. We don't want it to happen too early, because that indicates that we're probably going to be late. But the fact that it happened this late means we're very good on time, so we're going to have like probably about 30 seconds just sitting around. Would be a good time for, you know, discussions about charity, stuff like that. This is the house of the Cutters. They are monsters in disguise, basically, and they've kidnapped a poor sparrow. And we need to rescue the sparrow, but unfortunately they don't show their true colors except under moonlight, and there's no moonlight during the day, even when it's really dark in this particular house's vicinity, for some reason. So, we're just gonna wait. This is unfortunately the max speed you can bark at. Can't bark any faster. Here's the overlay map. You can get this just by holding left, or L2, I guess. And here's Miss Cutter. So just drag her into the sunlight, or the moonlight. And then we nuke them. And they're dead. That was a lot of time save for a split you're not supposed to save time on. This is great music, by the way. Doot doot doot. Yeah, rip. We actually can lose time to movement now, so that's bad. Welcome, Viva P, or Vivap. I don't think he told me how that's supposed to be pronounced. This is a Sasa Sanctuary. It is a bathhouse run by sparrows. We don't really care about the bathhouse so much, except there's a part of our quest line here, which is the last thing we can do, or we have to do before things start getting a little bit crazy. So gotta talk to this bird a bunch, like 6 times, dude. So many skips here. So much dialogue mashing. Oh yeah, this is Mr. Bamboo. He has a daughter named Kaguya, who's his adopted daughter, who's kidnapped by the Emperor of Japan. We're not going to help him at all. He can, you know, help himself. I'm sure he's capable. That was slow. By drawing a circle around him, it's supposed to make him run faster, but the recognition on it is pretty inconsistent. So that is our first and only digging minigame. We can skip all of the other ones that are supposed to be required in the game. And that gets us our next brush power. This one is a snake in a round vial named Nuregami. And this gives us the power to waterbend. We can make pillars of water as well. Rising platforms out of specific spots in the water. Kinnan made that look easier. But I like it. For some reason it never occurred to me to use outer camera there before. I gotta talk to this guy. Oh, unfortunate. Lost our dash. It's just Viva. Okay. Well, hello, Viva. And here's our next dogfight. This one's a lot more annoying than the first one because this guy has a lot more health. This is Take, also called Gi. They each have 2 names. Oh, unfortunate. There we go. Easy money. And that is how you save tons of time. Okay, so now that we have Water Spout, instead of finding the other 2 dogs, which, believe it or not, we already know where they are, we're actually not going to do that. We're going to put that off a bit, so that we can do some very hard tricks early, because as it turns out, we've already met all of the prerequisites for getting to the next major area of the game via a skip. Big skip. I do not like where this scroll is. Should probably go to the left of that rock next time. And this is City Checkpoint. So this area is supposed to lock you off from the second major arc of the game until you've completed the first arc. Which the whole intro cutscene sets up for. It's a whole bunch of lore that goes behind the first major arc of the game, and we're just going to skip all of that by doing an incredibly hard trick. So that giant bridge is, you're supposed to knock it down with a power that we haven't gotten yet, which is basically the equivalent of Water Spout for fire. It's called Inferno. And there's day. I'm not gonna drown. Okay, looks like I'm good. Just barely avoided drowning there. Nice. That was kind of janky. That one barely worked. I was sure I wouldn't have enough height for it. But yeah, that's the second hardest trick in the game. That's City Checkpoint skip. Normally that's not supposed to happen first try. Normally it's supposed to take like a dozen. Well, not quite a dozen, but... yeah, I got kind of lucky. I have not put in enough practice to get that consistently first try. You can jump on top of the wall there. I actually didn't mean to. I don't recommend doing it because it's technically more precise, and it's not really faster unless you like really move perfectly. But I accidentally landed up there, and I had to not fuck it up at that point. If you fall off the wall, you sort of automatically die. You don't have enough time to get back onto it, which is why I don't like that method. I think it's much easier to just stay to the side of the wall. Okay, now for something that could lose me a bunch of time if I don't get lucky. This is the first real instance of a pretty common trick we call interior clipping. Basically, all of the insides of houses in this game are stored underneath their exterior maps. Oh no, dude. So, if we can get under the map, then we can fall into the interiors, which can save time, if you don't mess this up. This is not going well. There we go. Is that enough? I wonder if that's enough. I accidentally didn't do the tackle. That should be enough. There we go. Perfect. We are going to lose a fair amount of time here, though, because of that. So this is the only really required dojo technique. This is double jump. So yeah, now that we have double jump from that sweet interior clip, now we can progress to the next area in the game. Here's coming up another fight skip, which is actually quite precise. It's easy to mess up, so hopefully I don't mess it up here. Got it. Not perfect, but good enough. So this is the capital of Nippon. This is Seian City. It is afflicted by a horrible plague, which we are going to do absolutely nothing to address. So first here we're going to start off by getting out of bounds, which is a great way to start, if I can do this properly. So yeah, with a pretty precise platforming setup we can get outside of bounds, and then we can do another interior clip here into the restaurant. So this restaurant is normally inaccessible when Seian is cursed, but we can get in here early if we use an interior clip and get this. So this is a secret Celestial Brush technique. These are optional techniques that are basically upgrades to the normal techniques you get. Or at least they're meant to be upgrades. And they basically are sort of alternate versions. So this one's an alternate version of the fire power I was talking before about. The normal fire power is called Inferno, and it's like water spout for fire. It lets you take from a fire source to and draw a line to anything else that you want to inflict with fire. This is Fire Burst, which lets us create fire without a fire source. Now, Fire Inferno, the power we're skipping, it's what we skip when we do City Checkpoint, or at least it's part of it. Because in order to get Inferno, you have to do the Moon Cave, and the Moon Cave is the longest dungeon in the game. It's like 25 minutes long. So, we would like to skip it. But we still need a way to create fire for a specific puzzle later in the game. There we go. That was slow. And so we can sort of just replace all that 25 minutes of dungeon with just that one interior clip to get that firepower, because we can replace Inferno with Fire Burst, even though you're not meant to be able to get Fire Burst without Inferno. Here we're going to do a bit of a out of bounds thing in order to that's slow, I'm losing time. There we go. So yeah, that's called Rao Skip. That skips meeting a very important character named Lady Rao, who we will be seeing later. But that just skips a whole bunch of dialogue with her. Fortunate. Don't usually have problems with this. There we go. So by dragging the guard back, we can force our way past them, which is something you're not meant to do. You're not meant to be able to get into this palace until you've done a whole other dungeon that we're also skipping, called the Imperial Palace. Yeah, subtle difference between the Queen's Palace, Queen Himiko, and the Imperial Palace, which is belonging to the Emperor. Yeah, we lost a bunch of time there. Not a great segment. And here's the hardest trick in the game. So this trick is hard for different reasons than City Checkpoint Skip. It basically requires 5 frame perfect inputs in a row. Let's see if I can get it. Ah, I'm early. That's early. So yeah, we have to cross this lava lake, and we're meant to get an item that lets us swim through lava. Fuck. Early on the second double jump start. So yeah, there's a bunch of this trick that's really precise. But needlessly so. And we have to do this trick twice in the run. Damn it. Start too early? No. There we go. That should work. Not too bad. I should still be ahead. So yeah, that trick is just so hard. I could have been there for like 4 minutes trying that. And this lets us visit Lady Himiko, or Queen Himiko, I mean. We have to talk to a bunch because she's not only the queen, she's the border guard. Or at least the border... She's in charge of border control, basically. So, we need to get her to give us a passport, a doggy passport. And then we need to cross the lava again. That is not gonna work. We got analog locked. Second jump too low. There we go. So that's reverse fire tablet skip. I said earlier that we have to do this trick twice. That's not exactly what I meant. That's actually only once. Both of those together. So we actually are going to have to do both of those again later in the run. Which is a big pain, because those tricks are just so damn difficult. So we're gonna get the guards to just kick us out really quick, because there's no other way out of the palace, at least not that's fast. And then we're quickly going to visit Rao. Say hi to Lady Rao. She's right there. Now say goodbye to Lady Rao. We completely ignore her. You're supposed to talk to her a bunch and like do a whole side quest for her, but we just completely ignore her. Like there's a whole mini dungeon associated with her, which is how you gain entry into a whole actual dungeon, and we just skip both of those entirely by doing all of those tricks that we just did. We are probably not going to be very ahead though at the end of this, because I've been playing quite sloppy. I estimate we'll be maybe 30 seconds ahead. We're also low on health, although that shouldn't matter anytime soon. There's nothing we can really lose health for in the immediate future. So yeah, once we have the border key, we're just going to spend it, or well not spend it, but use it to cross the border here. First we have to talk to the border guards. If there was any way to get over this gate, it would save about like 20 minutes. Well, no, probably closer to like 5 or 10. But it would save a lot of time. It would be quite handy. So that's Waka. You'll notice that this area isn't cursed, unlike all the other areas we've been to so far. And that's because Waka uncursed it for us. Yay, Waka. This guy's an Earth Nose. Should be called a Wind Nose, but, you know. Translation. With any luck, it won't turn night before the next thing that I have to do. But first we have to go shopping. Bought another fish feed bag this time. Oh, unfortunate. That is quite bad luck. Okay, so we just went on a bit of a detour to activate yet another fast travel point. And then we have to go help this guy, just getting bullied. And then he told us his secret, so we're just going to immediately ignore him. And then we wait until it turns day. And go through like 3 cutscenes. And this is Orca. Orca is our living ship. And we're just going to sail on Orca over to this big model of Doug Dimmadome's hat here. Also known as Cat Call Tower. Because we cannot skip this, unfortunately. And you're going to see why I said unfortunately in a second here. Save time. Interesting. So this is Cat Call Tower, and we have to climb the entire thing. It's really big. So we just skipped a fight there. Not a very long fight, but it's just convenient to skip it. And I'm now going to press B about 200 times with a very specific rhythm. This also would be quite a convenient time to talk about charity, philanthropy, generous giving, stuff like that. And after all of that, we're at the top. Please. And the camera here is really jank, so we just have to keep tackling in order to go fast. Whenever the game takes control of the camera away from you, it's liable to cause jank with dashing. For some reason. Not a great system. And this is our next brush power. Press, that's gold. I definitely didn't play perfectly there. Yeah, I have to draw a really squiggly line there, or else Isun gets upset at me that it wasn't squiggly enough. For some reason. He's very particular about that specific line being extremely squiggly. He gets really pissed if you don't do it. Please. And then, finally, we now have done everything that we functionally can do. Without, you know, resuming the main story quest. So we're going to go and now rescue the other 2 dogs that we promised Fisei we would rescue all that time ago. But not before helping poor Kushi here. Thank you for the good luck, plate element. Welcome to the stream. And once again, we are assisting Susano and, you know, not looking like a fool. What is this devilry? His lines in English are hilarious. Skeet. Now you have to help Kakari fish once again. Oh no, bad luck crab. That's a bad sign. This is the crab of ill omen. Oh no! Oh, we are so screwed, guys. And this is the Whopper. Not trademarked or anything. Just a fish. Nothing consumable. In fact, it happens to have consumed poor Ume, Kakari's dog. And that's actually a bit of a tougher fish than usual since we have to get 2 power slashes. There are some fish in the game that take 3, but we don't have to bother with them. And here's another brush power. This is Crescent. This is Yomigami, a rabbit. And he lets us draw shitty lines that put the moon in the sky. Perfect. Stellar. Magnificent. Nice. Very cool fight in there. Okay, so, having done that, we can go to the final dog. So this is the reason why we had to dig up Mushi's dad earlier. Oh no, did I mess up? I shouldn't have jumped there. This thing takes forever. Yeah. I still don't know why the hell that happens. An annoying time loss. Really? That worked. I'm not gonna get a full money bonus, but it should be fine. This fight isn't that important. Yeah, 500 yen's not gonna make a difference. Okay, so now we finally have addressed all 8 canine warriors. So we can finally go all the way back to Fise and tell her how good of a job we did. That was the wrong direction. I couldn't remember which direction I had to press. It's gonna turn day. No. No? Wow. We're efficient. Normally it goes a lot earlier than that. Okay, so she gave us a present. She gave us the Satomi Power Orbs. I know that's what I wanted. So now that we have these Satomi Power Orbs, all 8 of them, we can go enter the Gale Shrine, which is currently haunted by a horrific demon known as Crimson Helm. This is Yatsu, he's a ghost. Crimson something or other. Red helmet, dude. The horse. So this is a new enemy called the Chimera. Much like Waka, he's very vulnerable to explosives. I do not have True Dash here. Okay. So now we have a key, but we can just drop the key. Not what I meant to do. We can just drop the key and start barking. As it turns out, the key is homing, and it'll return back to us. And here's another Chimera. Don't ask me why they throw the same enemy at us twice. Bit. And he gives us another key. So this elevator, if it wasn't already obvious, is powered by explosives. It's also incredibly slow, and you have to use it 3 times, which is really annoying. Damn. All that effort. So now that we're here, we can finally get the power of Gale Storm, which lets us control the wind. It's unfortunate that we can't get this any more easily. We can't substitute it with anything. It's like a hard requirement. There's just no way to skip it, really. So we just gotta get it. But after doing that, since we have double jump way earlier than we're supposed to, we can actually do a pretty neat trick here. Perfect. So that's just a quick way to get down from that huge tower there by clipping out of bounds. And then you might notice that we're going towards the exit, and there's still the Crimson Helm that I talked about. As it turns out, there's no actual reason we have to fight the Crimson Helm. You can just completely ignore him. The in-game, like, the progression lock behind Crimson Helm that you're supposed to deal with is that Crimson Helm is what's, like, defeating Crimson Helm is what starts the sequence that lets you enter the Moon Cave, which is the dungeon where you get Inferno, which, as I already described, is supposed to be necessary to cross City Checkpoint. However, because we can skip Inferno, we can skip the Moon Cave, and then that means we can skip Crimson Helm. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean we can skip Galestorm, but, you know, you win some, you lose some when it comes to skips in games like these. Fly away. So now that we have Galestorm, which was locking us out of progressing any further in the mid-game section that I had skipped to earlier, now we can go resume that. So let's get to it. I have to remember to do some shopping here. This is going to be 3 XLs, 2 SFS, and 1 Holy Bomb. I think that's it. Right. And that's all. So we have to turn at night here, and then we're going to skip a fight here. So we have to draw that guy a shooting star so that he'll make a wish, which makes this galaxy appear, because he's a telescope person. That's what they're called, right? And then once this galaxy has appeared, then now is when we need Galestorm, and there's nothing we can do to skip this. We have to use Galestorm so that we can spin the galaxy that's in the sky. No, that doesn't make any sense. But it's apparently the secret to unlocking the whirlpool here on Earth, near Japan. And that is really important because in order to meet the Dragonians, yeah, that's right. That makes perfect sense. In order to meet the Dragonians who control the Water Dragon, which is actually a giant sea serpent that's been going crazy off the coast of Japan and stopping everyone's Amazon Prime shipments, which is why everyone in Seon has the virus right now. We need to go talk to the Dragonians so that everyone can get their Amazon Prime back. So yeah, we're just going to ride Orca straight into this whirlpool here. You can see there's a big volcano right in the back there. That's not evil at all. Don't worry about it. Don't you worry. Not even slightly evil. What up, Firestar? Welcome to the stream. So anyway, here's the Dragon Palace, where the Dragonians live. I wasn't making any of it up, it's all true. And here is Otohime, the Queen of the Dragonians. And she's gonna complain at us that she actually can't control the water dragon, and in fact we have to go assassinate it. And also the water dragon is her husband. A bunch of nonsense if you ask me. Cool movement, nice. And here's the water dragon. He's just sleeping here in this hole with his mouth open. We're just gonna jump into his nose. Makes perfect sense. And now we're inside of the water dragon. Believe it or not, this is actually only the second time in the story that you're intended to be inside a living creature. We skipped the first part. The first part is, of course, the Emperor of Japan. We're supposed to go inside him, too. These scrolls are really annoying to skip. Ah, that's my dash. So yeah, a bunch of awkward platforming in this dungeon, or like this mini dungeon. That's basically what the water dragon is all about, awkward platforming. That's all we do here. I actually have a slightly low amount of health, I wonder why. What did I get hit by? So here we're going to use Water Spout on the Water Dragon's stomach acid in order to open up this weird diaphragm here and release all of the acid, because we're trying to kill the Water Dragon. Unfortunately, Water Dragon stomach acid is slightly harmful to Sun God Wolves, whatever we are. So we have to swim through it. We are supposed to have Water Lily here so that we don't have to, but obviously we skipped that way earlier. And actually we wouldn't have the ability to swim through all of this if not for the fact that I just bought that Holy Bone there, which gets me just enough health to swim through it if I use it in the middle. And now that's the Water Orb, that's the secret to the Water Dragon's power. And here are the Tube Foxes, which are also inside the Water Dragon, for convoluted reasons. Basically, these were hiding in someone's Amazon Prime shipment, and when the Water Dragon ate all of the Amazon Prime shipments, he ate these too, and they've been causing some problems. Well, that's no good. So this is a very RNG segment here. If I get hit out of the air, there's nothing I can do about it. Yep, that sucks. We saw about 10 to 20 seconds depending on where you get hit. But yeah, if you don't get hit there, you can just sort of soar through the air and make it to the other side without a problem. And it saves a bunch of time. But if you get knocked into the water there, it really sucks. Swimming is really slow compared to general movement. and there's nothing we can do to stop it, because the places where it lands are pretty much random. I have to remember to upgrade my wallet. I forgot to do that during the swim. Someone remind me to upgrade my wallet when I use the SFS for Rao. So yeah, we just told Orihime that we killed her husband. She's all pleased, but then she uses the water orb to have precognition, and then she sees that Rao, the person who we barely met earlier, is actually evil, and is going to kill the Queen of Japan. So now we have to go stop her. Technically I only lost 15 seconds, which is a bit better than I expected. That was, I think, one of the worst spots you could get hit. And it only lost me 15, so that's good. So yeah, now we have to go to Seion City and rescue Orihime from Evil Rao. Yes, that's her actual name, Evil Rao. Unfortunately, they closed the gates to the city because they heard that someone was coming to murder the queen. Which is kind of sucks for us because, you know, Evil Rao has the ability to jump really, really high. So she could have just jumped over that gate. She didn't even have to do any dealings about it. Oh yeah, and by the way, you know how I said we have to do Fire Tablet Skip twice, way at the beginning of the run? And you know how I just said that we have to go rescue Himiko? And you know how the reason we did Fire Tablet Skip was so that we could meet Himiko? Yeah, now we have to do Fire Tablet Skip again. Oh, damn it. Wants to look cool. So this is the ghost of the real Rao, who Evil Rao murdered and impersonated. Interestingly, this tunnel here between Ryoshima and Seion is actually considered an interior area of Seion, so we can store dash through that tunnel. Just a quick piece of trivia there for how the maps are laid out. So now Isun's like, yikes, we're at the palace. Because technically we didn't know exactly where Evil Rao was going, just that she was evil. But Fire Tablet Skip 2 time. That was late. That was really late. That means I have to build dash again up here, which is slow. Late by a frame. wait. Early? Thank goodness that didn't take 4 minutes. Well, that's the worst of it. I just have to not choke the rest of the run. No one reminded me. I'm upset with you guys. Oh, excellent. This is the best pattern. Oof! Yeah, get done in. Ah. It's not very fair, Krina. Okay, so now that Queen Himiko is dead, we have to go to Evil Rao's evil base, which is literally called Oni Island. Guess where that's located. Okay, so there's Oni Island. I lied earlier when I said that the volcano thing wasn't evil. It actually was very evil. We'll see in a moment just how evil it really is. We have to skip this fight again since we skipped it earlier. I think this is the only fight skip we do twice on the run now. I might be misremembering. Very sad music as we go across this bridge made of Orohime. Basically, she transformed into another water dragon, just so that she could get real long. Okay. Nice. Alright, now for the fun part. Nice. So that skips about half the dungeon. It scared me too, Krina. I love that. That looks so cool. So this is on the island, about halfway through it. Yusin's gonna get very, very surprised about how this key works. Basically, it turns these electrical platforms on when we hold it in our mouth, among other things. It's also a source of lightning, because the power we just got is water spout, but for electricity. And there we just skipped another fight. And that was a maze. Obviously we know the solution to the maze, so it looks pretty cool. And these guys, we're just gonna bomb them, because they're annoying to deal with. Probably gonna lose time on this segment, not the most clean. And here we're just going to talk to this imp merchant here. Yes, even the imps will sell us things for money. I just barely made it. And we're gonna blow up this huge statue that's there for no reason, covering up a staircase. There's one extra eye behind us, and we have to hit all four, or all five, I mean. And then we can go to the next segment, which I'm losing time on. No, I gained 5 seconds actually. I just didn't hold it. That gets us here. Well, ripped hitting that cycle. I wonder if it would be faster to fall down there. I doubt it, but worth thinking about. So yeah, this is a bit of a side-scroller segment, which is weird in that it's not technically 2D, it's just really narrow in 3D, with a fixed camera angle. Please. I hit snooze. Should not have done that. Blech. Why did I do that? Still a good time. And here's my favorite segment. Assuming I don't mess it up, which I mess it up a lot, despite it being one of the segments I practice most. Nope. Good RNG, please. Nice. I'm not reading chat right now, by the way. Need to focus. So this is Ninetales. This is the true form of Evil Row. And she sort of like Jalhala. And that she goes into tons of tiny little spirits when she dies, or when you hit her. And then we're just going to nuke the hell out of her. I hope I don't crash. Okay, thank goodness. If you enter the save menu at all, when you exit it, it can crash. Don't ask me why. It's the only, like, random crashing issue this version has. Please no. Yeah, so because it's night, all these guys are gonna try and screw with us. Which is a big pain. Please. Poor Krina. That's why you gotta watch the world record and, like, I don't know, other runs as well. I've watched, like, so many different runs for just, like, random research purposes for timing and stuff. And then I, like, learn a random strat that I didn't know about, and I'm like, neat, I'll start doing that. So, prior research is very handy when it comes to micro-optimizations like that. That works. Although that was pretty slow. Well, 6 seconds. So here's a biggest camera adventure trick in the world. Or in the run. That is unfortunate. There we go. Slow, but it works. Okay, now, I'm going to try it. I doubt this will work first try, but I'm going to try it. Did not work. Did not work. Did not work. Okay, let's just try the old method. Way to make me look like a fool. So this skips a fight with an enemy called an igloo turtle. Hello? Did I get a wall, didn't I? Whatever. And there we're going to buy yet more explosives, which is pretty much all we're buying for the rest of the run. Because explosives are handy, and we have tons of money at this point since we fought so many bosses. "24 seconds lost. No big deal. Tell me more where that came from." And we just clip into bounds right there. And that skips about a minute of various side questy talking stuff. +5, nice. Or -5. I always get that backwards. There we go. Convenient timing for that to go off again. Alright, now let's try yet another new variation of a trick. I hope this one goes better than the last one. Yeah, it's slow. It worked. I'll take the safe route. And that's how you skip 30 minutes of gameplay. Didn't even gold. Lame. I always forget that's not a cutscene. This is a cutscene though. So this is Waku Shrine. We're gonna skip almost all of it. Running out of ink. So one of the powers we skipped way earlier in the game is a power called Veil of Mist, which is meant to slow down time. Fortunately, Fire Burst also does that, in addition to acting as a substitute for Inferno, which is very convenient. Very nice of the devs to add that feature in for no apparent reason. Just so that it could be useful to us when skipping stuff. Not bad. That's not bad. And that's the last upgrade we have. It's too slow. Damn. That should work. There we go. And that skips about half the dungeon. Or maybe closer to 2/3. What am I looking for? You. Not bad. That split triggered early. Well, there's nothing I can do about it now. I'll just have to erase it later. I lost my dash, didn't I? God damn it. Could have gotten worse. I'm gonna lose maybe 20 seconds here. So this is the hardest boss in the game. It's very technical, very extensive, very challenging. Lots of very difficult techniques here. That's it. I lied! Oh, I lost 30 seconds, jeez. Not this time. And this is the final dungeon in the game, except it's not really a dungeon, it's just a boss rush. The Ark of Yamato, the origin of all evil in Japan. And we're just gonna buy a bunch of nukes from this guy. Wait, I need to buy... no, we're good. We have everything we need. I have my astral pouch, so I don't need to heal. So this is basically just giving you a bunch of lore on like the origin of Amaterasu and all of the evil bosses in the game. But in reality it's just a boss rush with 5 bosses. This guy is a boss we never fought. He's supposed to require a specific power to defeat him, but fortunately he makes himself vulnerable without it. Please. There we go. I might be inside the portal. I don't really want to lose 7 seconds on each of these. Yeah, I'm inside the portal. Well, I can gain a bunch of time on Orochi if I do it perfectly, so let's try for that. So Orochi is another boss that we haven't fought yet, and this is like, for real, no lie, the actual like hardest boss fight in the game. It's the only boss fight that really doesn't have any way of just cheesing through it in one phase. We have to do the whole thing, and it's really complicated and actually technical. So we're going to start here with phase 1. We have to get 3 heads drunk, so we're going to abuse the behavior of the Earth Head to allow us to activate 3 heads at once. And then we're going to repeat. And this all has to be timed quite precisely. It's a very specific routine that takes a lot of practice to not mess up. And with the second one, we can also hit the bell on the top, so that we can take it down with just 1 exorcism slip. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We have an astral pouch, that's what it's for. Basically for the specific situation. In which you get heavily screwed by the cycle. The fire that falls from the sky is RNG. We're supposed to have an item at this point that makes us immune to fire. Hopefully I didn't miss my chance. Okay, perfect. Probably, yeah, we're gonna save time over last run. Although that was still quite a shit show, if I do say so myself. Open my water bottle, and then I'll take another chance to drink it, because I don't have enough time right now. Oh, but that's a good thing to have over with. The run could have ended there if things went really, really horribly wrong, but I kept it together. Two, 5, 7. 5, 6 actually. 2 plus 5 plus 6 is going to be 15. I think I have 14 right now, right? Alright, so here's Crimson Helm. Here's the boss that we completely ignored in Gale Shrine. Or no, wait, no. I'm stupid. This is the first boss we fought. This is Speedrun. And the only difference here is that she takes 3 vines to make vulnerable this time. Yeah, we're good. More than enough exorcism slips. What I did there didn't hurt me. Yay! I got the bark. Did you guys hear that? Welcome to the stream, Endir Kujo. Hi hi. I'm doing pretty well on account of this almost definitely being world record, assuming I don't like die to Yami or something like that. Which can happen, that's technically possible, just extremely unlikely. I would have to be a wicked fool. Okay, so for real, here is Crimson Helm, the boss we ignored earlier in Gale Shrine. He's a horse. Cow thingy. We have to break his armor, then Galestorm away his flame armor that lives underneath his regular armor, then nuke him 4 times. And he's dead. No interaction at all. That's what we call cheese. Oh, I didn't get the bar. Also, I am directly inside the blue orb. That is not cool. Oh my dog. Oh my dog. Unfortunately, this probably won't be sub 226. This probably will not read 225. It will probably read... Or actually, wait. 208. Actually, this will probably be a 207. Low 207, I'm guessing. Assuming I don't make more mistakes than I already have. Oh yeah. Finesse. Thank you. You should rewatch the rest of the run when you get the chance, because I'm assuming you just came in. And this is a really lovely game. I know why so many people love it so much. That is a bit too close. But that works. Yeah. Slow. Where's my boy? Unlike the real Demon Fox, this one only takes 2 exorcism slips instead of 4 in the final phase, which is quite convenient. Hey, we gained a second. Nice. For show. And now we just need to make one last shopping trip before we take on the root of all evil in Japan. I mean, Nippon. Actual battles that actually took place in ancient Japan. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a... Actually, there are like medium-sized enemy crabs. There are not any giant enemy crabs in this game. Puh. Nice gold dash, loser. Bit of a stretch. So Yami, you'd think Yami would be like a cool, interesting boss in this run. As it turns out, Yami is basically a 6-minute long auto-scroller. Because we just nuke the hell out of it. This is technically the final ball pushing puzzle of the game. So all we do is push Yami around. Huh? I never knew? Never knew what? Oh, and by the way, we skipped some brush powers earlier. We skipped Water Lily, we skipped Inferno, and we skipped Veil of Mist, but we're actually going to get all of the powers in this fight. They give them to you for real. He's actually a really cool and challenging boss fight, or whatever. It's a really cool, challenging boss fight, casually, when you don't know that you can just nuke the hell out of it. But it certainly does put a damper on things. But it's still fun. I really love just how hard we can go in on Yami for no apparent reason. Because the bosses just completely forgot to give him any sort of armor to exorcism slips. Similar to Electrico Nechiku. It also means that this sweet music doesn't overstay its welcome. Yes, the low price of 420k. Technically 410. You can do it in 410. Without losing much time. I think that's it actually. I think I just kill it. I am losing time on this, by the way. I'm not paying attention to my cycles. And here, this third form of Yami is a slot machine, so we are going to rig the slots by hitting him with 5 straight exorcism slips. And that is Galestorm, which means the next power is going to be Inferno. You can skip them with glitches. You're not supposed to do it. But the designers are not as smart as us speedrunners who, you know, took years to look at the game and dig the hell out of it with tons of community effort. Those poor QA testers couldn't hold a candle to us. Okay, so here's Veil of Mist. They actually give us Veil of Mist. It really works. I'm not going to show it because it would waste time, but it really works. Here's a nice thing. Because the camera locks to Yami, if you do that while he's hovering up there, the camera just flips around. How long have you been speedrunning this game? I've been speedrunning for about 6 months, I think. I first played the game... This is gonna sound kind of silly to you. I literally first played through Okami properly this summer, and then I was like, I bet this is a sick speedrun. So I watched some, and I was like, yeah, that's sick. So I started speedrunning the game, and as it turns out, I chose to start speedrunning the game at a good time because a bunch of other people who are really good at finding skips and glitches also decided to start speedrunning the game at that time. So I've been basically riding the wave of a lot of people's very hard work and effort to make it this far. And it's beautiful. And that's Yami, except for the last phase. And then here we count to 12. Say it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, yay, we defeated evil. That's it. Your new game, any percent, Okami world record is 226.20. Wow, I thought it was going to be 227. Lovely. Ah, that did not take as long as I thought it would. Okay, so 226.20, 6 days. I think I'm supposed to be able to get through in 5, but there was some weird cycles in the middle there. Thank you, Krina. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And as always, when I finish runs like this, I like to do a little retrospective over the run by scrolling through the splits a little. Because, man, was it a journey to get here. D-Rust. I had a feeling this might happen. The real D-Rust run was the first run I did, but this run, I'll be honest, I kind of tried hard. So we started with a +4. I guess you could say that's a bit rusty there. The tutorial segment is not supposed to go on to -4, but I made a mistake. I think that's mostly from trying to hit the power slash rejuvenation too early. So that's my fault. Sunrise went well, I got a first try uppy thingy. Then I lost a bit of time on Kamiki, but that's not a big deal. Bloom was good, but it actually could have been better, I think, because this is not that close to gold, I don't think. Bloom Shinchi was fine. Cherry Bomb I lost some time from, I think this is mostly from a bad wanted list fight. Then I lost a bunch of time on Blue Magata, which I think is mostly from... what happened there? I sort of scuffed the Water Lily skip, or Lily Pad skip, and I also... Yes, thank you Tinacan, welcome to the stream. It means a lot. Thank you. Tinacan, by the way, TN27Can. He was the former world record holder before I took it. And he's a very good runner. He has the world record in New Game plus any %, which is a very different run, but still very cool. Much shorter, about an hour 20 minutes. Anyway, so I lost a bit of time on Blue Magata. I gained some time before Enter Tsuda, but I definitely could have done better for the fishing. I think I kind of flubbed that. Then this is a pretty mediocre split up to Blockhead. I messed up Mushroom Skip a bunch. So that's there. But then Vine was a good split. I don't think it was really that good. It was just because I guess my PB had my previous run, my previous PB had a pretty bad triple gate room. The fights weren't very good. But then I messed up Cookie Clip, right? I accidentally clipped back through the floor because I did the second Vine too early. So that lost me a bunch of time. I gradually gained it back through just, good play. This is where where the D-Rust happened. This is what you came for. Then Take went well. All the dogfights in this run went really well. I'm actually happy about that. It's a very good run for fights. Pretty much none of the fights went poorly, and that's just excellent. So Take went well, and it went really poorly in the last run, so I gained a bunch of time there. Then City Checkpoint. The skip was first try, literally first try, no buts about it. It was truly a first try City Checkpoint skip, and it went excellently. Then I played pretty well here. I lost a bunch of time doing the dojo clip. For some reason the staircase just wasn't letting me through, so that took a bunch of time, but otherwise I played well. Ubume skip went well. Here I lost a bunch of time because I messed up early Fire Burst a bunch, so I should probably go back and practice that even more. That's probably the one thing that I'm still the most rusty at. What's the difference between green and gold on the splits? Okay, so any split that's green or gold just means I'm ahead. It's the same thing as having a minus sign next to the split, which means it's like my current pace is minus like a minute 57 relative to the previous run. So the previous run took a minute 57 longer to get to the same split. What gold means specifically is that it's the best recorded speed I've done for that split. So it's my personal best for that very specific segment. So for getting between the Learn Double Jump split and the Enter Seon split, this is the best I ever did it. It doesn't tell you by how much. This is probably only a gold by maybe like a second or two, because it's a pretty well optimized split since it's so short. But it is a gold. Yeah. So every time I golded here, that's the best I've done on that split within these splits. Then what else went poorly? Oh yeah, I lost a bunch of time here for Fire Tablet skip. So I lost a bunch of time getting into Fire Tablet skip because I sort of flubbed both Sound Bridge skip and Row skip. Oh yeah, and then I had a bunch of trouble getting into Palace early. But that's my fault. Then the Tablet skip itself went about the same as the previous run, which is good, because it went pretty well in the previous run, so I'm happy that my practice over the past couple days paid off there. Because I was really working hard trying to relearn how to adapt to the timing mid-run, so that I didn't, panic and take 5 minutes to get there. So I'm really happy that I pulled through there. I was very nervous. Like, my heart was beating. I could feel it. I lost a bunch of time because I messed up Reverse Fire Tablet skip, I remember that. Then what did I lose time here for? I honestly can't remember. but I lost some time there, basically. Oh yeah. When I lost time on this specific split, Challenge Hayabusa, I lost time on that split because I accidentally jumped into the trigger for the Canine Tracker activating in not Konoha, Kamiki. Konoha's from Naruto. I jumped into that trigger. I still don't know why this happened, but when you jump into that trigger, it takes like 10 seconds longer to actually, for Isun's text to come up, so that you can skip it. I still don't know why that happens, but you're supposed to always tackle into that trigger instead, so that you remain grounded with as low of a height as possible, because that makes it happen faster. But I forgot, so minor time loss there. Hayabusa fight itself didn't go perfectly, but it still went pretty well. Everything through here, I was just playing pretty solidly. Yeah, I lost 15 seconds on Water Dragon Escape, but, you know, that's not as bad as I was expecting. That was pretty good. Fire Tablet Skip 2 went really well. I saved 18 seconds here, which is quite remarkable since this was pretty quick in my last run too, if I remember correctly. But it could definitely be a lot quicker here. I could easily save, I think, like 30 seconds in the split for, oops, Himiko is dead. Then the Rao fight went about perfectly. I just didn't menu quite right. Oni Island went great. I'm really happy I didn't mess up the entry jump or any of the other tricks in the entirety of Oni Island. I just played the whole thing really solidly. Not perfectly, not optimally, but solidly. And then floor 4, we have the new floor 4 staircase jump that lets you get to the flower faster, that was a free gold there, basically. I saved a bunch of time on Toby Goof. The Ninetales fight went well. Enter Kamui, I lost 6 seconds and I don't really know why. I guess it was just, I took a poor path going from Water's Cape to the spring, the Mermaid Spring. Then I tried to do my new variation of Igloo Turtle Skip, and I messed it up like 4 times before giving up and then getting the old variation first try, which is very ironic. That's very humbling that I didn't practice my own trick enough and I had to resort to the old method, which worked perfectly fine. And I probably would have saved like 20 seconds here if I didn't bother. This could have been a 225 if I didn't bother. Oh, that's painful. Oh well. As a Fuji, like a Webkit Gate skip actually went really well. That was a great skip. So that was nice. I did gold there, but not by much. I don't really know why I lost a second on Enter Waku. I probably should have gained a second, but you know, that's just how it goes. I guess my movement wasn't as perfect as last time. Key skip went fine, although I definitely could save time here. I really have to practice the exact right movement to get that every time as fast as possible, because I could save like 5 seconds here easily. Up to Blizzard went pretty well. Not perfect, but pretty well. This split here, plus or minus 317, that's a fake gold. That split triggered early. I still have yet to fix that, but I think I tried to and I couldn't figure out a way to. I use an auto splitter, by the way, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, an image-based auto splitter. So I have a folder full of images that are set up for a recognition program to check when the video feed looks like that. And obviously when you're relying on visual information, there's some possibility that the wrong thing gets displayed too soon, or something you don't expect to get displayed early gets displayed early, and it messes up what the split is looking for, and it triggers early or it triggers late or something. Oh yeah. Lechku Nechku is a really cool boss fight casually. We just completely cheesed the hell out of it just by nuking them. Because really, there's no... That's the devs' fault. I'm not going to take any blame for cheesing that boss. They completely dropped the ball on making that fight any bit of challenging if you had exosystem slips. Because both owls, both demons, are completely vulnerable, and they don't even have that much health relative to the amount of damage it does. So, okay. I lost a bunch of time on Lechku Nechku. This was actually... I lost a bunch of time here because... technically, part of this time loss is from Defeat Cannon. That split wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good. But really, I lost most of the time here because I lost Dash twice in the Hot Gear room. That's my fault. And then I lost a bit of time on a few of the bosses in the arc, and that's just me trying to play it safe, not move faster than I could keep track of, and not make any big mistakes. So yeah, I'm okay with losing like 10 seconds across it. It's not a big deal. But overall, all the fights, none of them went poorly. None of them went really catastrophically. The worst thing that happened is I died in Orochi Phase 2, which, you know, that's why we have the Astral Pouch. And yeah, that's the end of the run. So 2:26:20, that is your new world record